Charlie Hebdo, well, that's in France, and it should not have happened. One boy from Chechnya has beheaded a lecturer of history in a school because the lecturer talked about a cartoon, and that perhaps has hurt the sentiment of this boy from Chechnya. Well, it should not have happened, but then the France government has decided to show that cartoon, that controversial cartoon that touches upon the sentiment of this boy because of the ideology. It's about the person who has authored their Holy Scripture. So the cartoon about the person who authored their Holy Scripture, now a cartoon about that person, has obviously offended this person or that some few people from the community, and they are up in arms. So now it's tit for tat. Now the government of France has said that we're going to display that same cartoons on 2 government buildings. It is to give a message that we are not afraid of your backlash. So the point is this tit for tat will start continuing with backlashes. And backlash is not going to be progressive. So tit for tat as a solution is perhaps to be used in very minimal cases. So in such a case, there is no relief because this is going to continue of tit for tat. So somebody has to cut the circuit. So during these times, this word called cut the circuit or break the circuit is very prominent. So one has to look into the drive, the urge to go kill somebody, to behead somebody. Okay, so something could have been offensive or provocative, but then one needs to also understand the context and have a solution other than tit for tat, other than beheading people. So there is no solution in the script because it's a prescription. Whereas Indian civilization of India has many books and they are all descriptions, not prescriptions. Indian civilization allows description and gives you the freedom whether you want to subscribe. So it's all about subscription and description, not prescription. Whereas non-Indian ideologies have a scripture which is a prescription, that this is the only way things can happen. Now that is a flaw. So see, there's a flaw which is not a false. So you got to understand to distinguish between what is false and what is flaw. Flaw is okay, but false, the word false is also used during this pandemic times as false negatives, false positives. So you may have a false perspective or a false perception or a flawed understanding of things. So flaws are normal. We all make flaws. But if it is a false prescription, then you got to scrutinize it, analyze it, and then make an assessment of what is the solution. So see, whether it is called as Ibrahim or Abraham, Abraham and Ibrahim both have source in Brahman. The word Brahman is perhaps the source of the word Ibrahim and Abraham. So all these ideologies ultimately has a father of all civilizations, which is the Brahman, because it's already quoted, it's already evident with the same syllables as Bra and Man. So as such, we have to look at many civilizations, and Indian civilization has this possibility to overcome whether it is false perspective or flawed perception. So Indian civilization can cut the circuit of tit for tat. So to understand this, Indian civilization has methods of meditation, methods of breathing techniques, and one has to subscribe because Indian civilization gives you the freedom to subscribe to the description in the scripture, not a prescription. So this is the possibility if you all can learn the many kind of breathing techniques from India and do meditation, because meditations alone can allow us to cut the circuit of tit for tat. So I do not know how long this event of Charlie Hebdo is going to continue, but my recommendation is that we all look at the civilization, the father of all civilization, the Indian civilization, and discover its own ideology and subscribe to some practices of yoga, practices of breathing techniques, and practices of Indian meditations. So let's evolve, let's explore the possibilities in Indian civilizations, because this justice system, which is also a perception, cannot end with tit for tat. It needs another solution of breaking the circuit of violence, of hate, of revenge, of anger, of aversion to one another community. Maybe they pray to some idols, even then it can be accommodated. It's not the end of the world if some people subscribe to see some reverence and some holiness in the symbolism of divinity. That's fine. They can be included into the mindset. But the mindset needs to be enlarged to accommodate all the civilizations. So Indian civilization has that possibility of inclusive and pluralistic, accommodating all of the pluralistic civilizations of the world. This is a possibility for meditators. So let's explore these possibilities and subscribe to it and understand the descriptions that are in Indian civilization, and understand to distinguish between flaw and faults. So let's evolve together, stay together, work together, and move together, and even perhaps to understand all civilizations that are living in harmony and tranquility.